Welcome to Food for Action. Fighting a little bit of cold flu type scenario and a heart scenario at the same time. Lots going on in the world and my world personally, but things must continue. Things must move forward, and I think people I see a lot of people, and I get a lot of messages about people, and they're saying, talking about how so many people are doing, all of a sudden are doing these shows or posts and things about the different problems that we're having in society, dealing with hatred and racism and so on, and how a lot of people are doing it just for to jump on a bandwagon or for popularity or for notoriety or so on. And I have to say that I look at this several ways. One is that if you're not being true to who you are, if you're not being true outwardly to other people about who you are and how you live and what your experience is, then I would have to say that not only in this subject, but in every aspect of life, you're probably hurting lots of people in the along the way. I think there's still a lack of truth in society, and I know that I'm probably going a little off of the normal pattern and normal place, but I, there's some heartache that I'm dealing with today, and it's only compounded from the other things that my heart is going through and that my mind goes through with this fight. But when personal things attach themselves as well, it is. I don't know. I'm wondering at what point people are going to embrace honesty, embrace truth, embrace love, embrace peace, embrace life. And when I say life, I'm not talking about, how much fun we're having or how much money we make, or I'm talking about the pure existence of people and their relationships to others. There seems to be so many people that are so wrapped up in themselves and in their temporary fixes, and in their they're so wrapped up in their personal space that they neglect and hurt other folks around them, other folks that maybe they even claim to like or love. And it's sad that that this is what we're reduced to these days, is that, how do we expect to bridge these gaps that I talk about every week? How do we expect to embrace one another, to fight for um, for a purpose? How do we expect to fight together for what is right when individually we're living self-centered or selfish lives? I don't understand that. You know, it's interesting that you know, especially since I've been doing this Food for Action, I've found myself spending most of my time thinking about others, and along the way, I guess I'm receiving fulfillment and blessings from that, and you know, I've been able to link up, and I've been able to refresh friendships and relationships and find new ones, and but I have also found a lot of pain in this, and in during this mission of you know, finding how many people. Um, it's very disappointing finding where people really stand, what people's motivations really are. Um, People that I thought were friends and people that I believed care about me personally, and again, right now I'm off of the normal scenario because I have to. I don't know. I just feel like I need to address this today. Um, it's from a personal perspective. I've found that so many people that I know, and so many people that I know are literally um, really consumed by themselves, by they don't care what or how their actions affect other people. They're not concerned with the pain that they cause other folks, but merely they're about the self gratification or the you know, what is something doing for them for the moment? How are they feeling for the moment? And then uh, they jump to the next thing, and they're not worried about the pain that they cause other people. And that this is on my heart today. And so um, uh, I I guess I'm asking that anybody who knows me, um, I guess I'm making a plea to folks to embrace truth and embrace honesty, embrace uh, embrace selflessness, not selfishness, but embrace selflessness. Uh, um, it's okay to um, to be honest with people. It's okay to be to embrace the utmost truth and share that with other folks. We don't have to. We don't have to always be motivated by how good we can feel about something, or how, you know, what are we getting out of it. But maybe we should be more concerned with our neighbors, with the next person. And when you embrace that, then maybe all the motivations for the things that we do um, become more purposeful and become more meaningful, and they actually can be movements and motions that we do to actually help more people heal than just ourselves. Um, so, you know, maybe I'll circle back around and talk about that some more in a little bit. Let me read or tell you the mission statement for Food for Action. I and we acknowledge and express the racial divide, racism, oppression, exploitation, systemic racism, and violence against Black women, Black men, and Black youth in the United States and all over the world. I and we will proactively help create a path to a true United State in America. And again, that is what I speak of is a place of being, a place where we are literally, truly becoming united with one another. And again, I guess that falls back to what I was saying a minute ago. Is the only way that we're going to achieve that is through truth and through truthful actions and through through being truthful with ourselves as far as what what our, what our identities are. Uh, and so um, yeah, so it's very important that when we're in this space that we're literally being honest about our experience, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to relate with other folks in order um, to help this. I always hate to call it a movement, because to me is um, a movement is something that may have an end to it, and I don't like. I think that anything that has to do with defeating racism, defeating hate, shouldn't come to an end. This should be forever. It should be purposeful forever. So, but let me move forward. So today, on Food for Action, we are going to be blessed with the Global Black Girl. Um, and I'm excited. I have watched many of her videos and her lives and interviews that she's done with other folks, and she is she has systems and understandings beyond belief. When you listen to her, she can break things down for you like none other, and I really appreciate watching and listening to her. One of one of her uh, titles, I guess, spiritualist, which I love that. I love that in concept and in word, and so I'm just hoping and wanting for her to bring this meaning and help, I guess, help people tie into to their spirituality and to and explain, I mean, she has healthiness in mind, in body. She has it down to a science. So it's incredible. And so we'll be waiting for her to. Oh, I think she's popping in now. So let me see if I have her in with us. Oops. Let's see. Is this? Oh, I got multiple screens popping up here. So let's see. Let's remove that one. Let's see if she's on this one. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I lost her again. Let's see. Well, hopefully she will pop back in here. I think she was there a moment ago and then gone. That's why there is a purple screen in front of us. So please forgive me for that. Hey, Shannon, how are you? Good to see you with me again. Hope all is well on your side of the earth. Yeah, I hope all is well over there. And let's see. Oh, I think we got her back. And Mark Mason, how are you? Do I have you with me? I see a bunch of darkness. I'm not sure if that's you. Hello? Can you hear me? I've got a dark screen. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you. I'm just trying to get my lighting together. Okay.
There you go. Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good. I can't see you though.
Oh, you can't see me now?
No.
I don't know why. You should be able to. I'm on the screen, so we're both on the screen for everybody else to see.
Okay. Well, I can hear you, so that'll just have to be sufficient.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're here and glad to have you. And let me first apologize for any technical difficulties.
It's okay.
I've been getting that from a few people lately. That's why I have, tried to get this. Listen, it's a battle. There's always something that tries to pop up and mess things up a little bit. So
always, and we're in a retrograde, so we'll just do the best we can.
Amen. Well, so how is life over there in Costa Rica? What?
Life is peaceful. Life is without violence, honestly.
Wow. That's
life is whatever it is that we are, though. That's the thing. Like it has allowed us time to really look at ourselves and who we are, because we don't have all the external stuff going on,
See, and this is what I want, and I was so excited about having you, because this is what I want you to put out to people, because I express things to people in whatever ways I can based on my emotions, my experiences, and so on. And I've watched you, like I troll you, and so and you have a way of expressing spirituality in a way more pure way than I express it.
Thank you.
And I think that's so important for people to grasp. Like, I understand what you say, but I can't regurgitate it in a proper way. And so I'm hoping that you can impart some of that into Food for Action folks today.
Sure. No problem at all. And what I was like, I go off of the head, I go from my heart. So, whatever subjects or questions or whatever you have, I don't mind getting into. But what I was referring to when I said that all we have here is ourselves, we spend so much of our time. I'm from Los Angeles. My whole family, that's where we're from LA City, right?
Yep.
And it's one of the largest cities in the world. It is, it has a GDP larger than a lot of countries. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of all of this, right? And so 90% of our day was in interacting with other energies and other, people's anxieties and traffic and all the rest of it. And then on top of it, we had our own personal dynamics with each other. Right. And then on top of that, how we feel about ourselves.
Right.
Here, that hustle and bustle, that driving to work in traffic kind of stuff, has been stripped away. Right. My life is not, fearful of police pulling me over. I don't see violence like I used to. It's different. And so while it is a better life, not dealing with those parts of ourselves that, because wherever you are, there you are. Wherever you go, there you are.
Right.
That has to be dealt with too, because if it's not, then even this peace won't be enough to allow for happiness.
And so you're able to tap into that more because you don't have these extra distractions where you.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
So how would you tell somebody? So I understand how you coach folks and you help folks to do those transitional moves to places like where you are. But how would you direct someone who, for example, me? I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Not that I wouldn't want to, but presently it's not what I'm able
I understand.
To do.
Yeah.
So what would you tell me and folks that are in my, situation?
No, not. I totally understand. While we have to be in honesty and in acknowledgement that it does make things more difficult when you're in that environment. It's not impossible. And one of the things, the most simple thing, the quick and dirty of it, right, is to sit at least 15 minutes in the morning and before you go to sleep in complete silence.
Right.
Complete silence, where you allow everything out of your mind. You're not planning for the next day. You're not thinking about anything. And you sit in silence and you scan your body. And you feel your feelings, and you feel the things that are weighing on you. And in that silence, the things that are actually the most pressing will come to the surface. They won't come to the surface if they're being weighed against other challenges or other things.
Right.
These are the things that we usually don't really give a lot of value to. You know, if you're trying to make enough money to pay your rent at the end of the month and put gas in your car, you may not feel like it makes a lot of sense to spend thinking about how badly your dad hurt your feelings when he didn't pick you up when you were 4. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really allow for room for that.
Right.
But your 15 minutes in the morning, what you're going to do in the morning when you first wake up, in the rising, when you first wake up, you will sit quietly and consider how you're feeling. What kind of mood am I in today? Am I tired? Do I feel anxious about going to work? Do I feel anxious about taking my child to school? Am I worried about anything? How did I sleep? Were my dreams disturbing to me? All of those things before you start interacting with other people and making them have to deal with however you're feeling while you're trying to figure out how you feel. Because it's not fair to figure out how you feel reacting.
Right.
I'm talking about prior to reacting. And then at night before you go to bed, allowing yourself to kind of reorient back to your inner self, get stable and unify before you go into your dream space. Because when you settle your mind, you can sleep deeper, you will be more comfortable, and it allows for information from spirit, from your intuition to come through because you are settled and calm. When you just go through, you pass out with your cell phone in your hand or with the TV on, watching a movie or listening to music, your brain is still being fed stimulation. Right. You don't want that.
This is exciting in a way because, you know, I'm at this point, one of the missions that I believe that I have through this platform is actually helping people deal with trying to understand this whole racism thing and fight against it and so on. I go through this whole thing, which is how I connected with a friend of yours, Kimberly Latrice Jones. And so we deal with that. But at the same time, also, you know, I have a chronic Lyme disease battle that I deal with health-wise. And so I go through I'm going through all of these things and trying to find that peaceful part, where I can kind of wipe some of these other things so that I can be helpful to other people as well. And it's a struggle. And I do somewhat a little bit, probably not as intense as I should, but I do it somewhat because, you know, I was in ministry for a long time as well. So I do have prayer, and I have silent time like that, but maybe not so much where everything is blocked out because something's always happening in my system for some reason.
People talk to me about, guided meditation. I'm not against guided meditation. I'm not against binaural beats. I'm not against any of those things.
Right.
What I am saying is those things can't take the place of your time with you.
Right.
Because whenever we need to chronically have stimulation, it's because you're running from something.
Right.
And so that goes into, and I know you've been watching, I fast.
Yes.
Right? Like I'm a water faster.
Yes.
And part of what water fasting does is it internally reduces your inflammation. It tells your organs, okay, it's time to calm down. And so it makes it even easier for your mind to calm down as well. It's like it turns the knob in this really important way. And then there's room for other things, right? Because now we've pulled back from being in this never-ending cycle of reaction of either things that we want or things that we don't want, attraction or repulsion. And now when you've pulled back, you can actually decide what you want to give your attention and intention to.
It's amazing. Listen, so we have a few folks with us back and forth.
Nice.
Everybody jumps in and out. So I want to say hi to Farhat. I want to say hi to Shannon. I want to say hi to Mark Mason first, because I see you on the screen saying things. If you guys have any questions for hopefully I can call her my friend now, the Global Black Girl. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them up here so that I can put them on the screen so that she can see what your questions are.
It's all black. This is crazy. I can't see you. I don't see comments. I don't see anything.
I literally am lit up. I have extra light here, and I'll put some more here. So you can't see me at all. That's so crazy.
I'm talking to a black screen, but it's okay.
I am so sorry. If anybody else cannot see me, let me know. I'll refresh or something. I can try to do that real quick. I won't lose you. Give me a half a second. I will push the refresh here and see if it allows you to see me, because I hate that you can't. Not that you want to see me or anything, but I'm not.
It's like having a phone conversation with a friend.
Here we are. We're back. Okay, can you see me now?
No, we can keep it like this. It's fine.
About that, I'll send you a picture.
Yeah.
So I have to mention this real quick. I do have a partner now, Gurin Brothers. They are a big hat company. They do hats and stuff for everybody. So I have to mention them. If I don't, then I am committing a foul.
Then you're breaking your agreement.
Exactly. And
congratulations.
We have Farhat. He is from I want to say the Netherlands, right, Farhat? I think. Well, he has a question. He says, how do we deal with thoughts and feelings we get in bed that keep us awake, like issues you can face the morning, as an example, at work or in daily life?
Okay, so building on the take 15 minutes of quiet before you go to sleep, you are training your mind, because the thing is, and I'll try to make this really simple. The thing is, we have our lower mind, right? Our monkey mind, our untamed animal mind that's absolutely filled with nothing but desires and fears and all the rest of it.
Right.
It does not want to be tamed, you guys. This is not something it's not going to go easy. What wild animal is easy to catch? It's not.
Right.
It's something we actually have to train ourselves to do. So if it's something that you're really struggling with, I would stop the media, like no social media, no television, no none of that. I would stop that an hour before bed. I would have some tea, drink some mugwort. Mugwort is wonderful for helping you to relax, and it also will induce you into a dream state, because dreaming will allow your brain and your body to heal itself a lot better. So I would definitely do that. I would drink some tea. I know it's like, oh, these are stuff, but if you do it consistently, you'll see what I'm saying. Clear your mind for 15 to 20 minutes before you go to sleep. No media 1 hour before. Stretch, take a bath. Really connect to yourself, because what's happening is that during your day, you are fragmenting. Right. Every interaction you have, like, think of it like this. Everything that you touch, everything you interact with, every person you speak to, you're like leaving bits of yourself with all these people all day long. Right. And then when you get home and it's time to go to bed, think of it as you are recollecting those parts of yourself. That's
awesome.
I hope that's helpful.
That's a great way to look at it. Listen, I'm telling you, do you have like a booklet?
I'm writing one. I am.
Please do, because this is, listen, and then when you do, I'm telling you, just let me know. I will buy the first like 20 copies or something and hand them to people.
Oh, thank you.
Because this is stuff that it's like, obviously, it's essential, but it's stuff that if we really could sit down and have that minute to think, we would probably be able to process some of that on our own naturally. But because we're so trained since young to, that this is what we have to do, and we have to interact with this, and we have to do this, and we have to make sure we're prepared for tomorrow. We have to make all these things that we're doing. So we're constantly churning, and especially us creative people, because I'm a musician at heart. It's what I've done all my life. And so you're coming from a place where there's always a song, or always some lyrics, or always something. And now I'm also doing this stuff. And so it's always something happening that your mind is never getting a chance to to stop, to literally let go of anything. I don't remember the last time I've literally let go of anything.
But this also goes to discipline, right? Because everyone, we all want to talk about relaxation and go get massages and meditate and stuff like that. But the thing that the star of the show that we don't like to look at, because I guess it makes us feel, I don't know, not heard. We need to exercise discipline over our spiritual lives and hold it in esteem enough to put in some effort and work. Right. And that's what a lot of us, it's weird because it's like we have this understanding that pretty much everything that we do requires some amount of attention or sacrifice, except for when it comes to our spiritual self. We just expect for it to just fall in alignment and it should just be fine. And no, this takes actual commitment. You have to make yourself a priority. Right. You have to make your spiritual self a priority because the system that we're currently in profits from keeping us churning. Right. There's companies that make tons of money by showing you chicken nuggets at midnight when you're lonely. Right. That's not an accident. They do it on purpose. Right. And so knowing that there are systems in place that benefit greatly from you not being able to sleep and from you, craving and wanting and having all of this churning, that it's an actual act of revolution to say, no, I'm going to work this out myself. I'm going to sit quietly. I'm not hungry. I'm thirsty. I'm not hungry. I'm tired. I'm not hungry. My adrenals are burnt out because I'm drinking too much coffee.
Right.
No one makes money on you when you're like relaxed and calm.
You got a point. You know what I love? Can I tell you this? This is so funny and probably the most off the wall statement. But I love how you smile when you're talking about all this stuff. Oh, because it's like it's like it's making you happy to express this stuff is what it appears to be, and it does. That's awesome. That's like
thank you. It really does, and I felt for a very long time, and I guess I didn't really value because this goes back to like valuing our individual voices. When you hear things, it goes through your filter, and you process the information in your own way. And when you're hearing information that's valid that you may have heard a bunch of times in a bunch of different ways, it may not make you feel like there's room for your voice or for your delivery or the way that you think. Right. And I've had that for a really long time. I'm sure you've heard. Yeah. I've done all kinds of stuff and felt no obligation whatsoever to share. Right. And I also felt like you can get this information really anywhere. So why would I need to open my mouth? But then I realized there is space for the way that I deliver and the way that my thought process works that's connecting with people who couldn't receive it another way. Yes. And so I have an obligation. And so I've been spirit-led to have these conversations more. And it does make me feel good, but it also is a function of the way that I connect with people. Because I don't receive angry messages well. Some people respond to that. Like some people like boot camps where it's, you maggot, you need to, right? Like that works for some people. I don't like that.
Right.
You talk to me nice. Like if you're not talking to me nice, I'm not listening to anything you have to say, and I'm angry. Okay? You talk to me nice. I'm a sensitive person. And so I communicate in the way that I like to be communicated with.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That's awesome. Let me ask you a question, because I'm sure that anybody who's watching this now or sees it later is going to want to know this. Mm-hmm. What and when, so I guess the first part, what made you in the beginning feel that you had to tap into something? What was going on in your life that made you say, wait a minute, I got to flip this and figure it out? So because at some point you had to figure out what you are teaching to other folks.
Oh, well, yeah. I grew up in the church, but I never really I grew up in the church. I was a little kid Bible thumper, like for real. Like, right. Okay. But I always felt, because it's weird the things that stick to you when you're a kid and you never know what's gonna. I remembered being taught that anything that doesn't feel good, you shouldn't do, right? Okay. Anything that makes you feel bad probably isn't good for you. Thank you.
Right.
And I started feeling bad going to church. Like, church was making me feel like a horrible person. It was making me feel unworthy. It was making me feel all these things. This was when I was like 8, though. Okay.
Yep.
So I was a little kid. And there was a lot going on in the world that I was acutely aware of. I was a homeschool kid, so I had a lot of time to read. Right. And I've always been interested in history and all of that.
Right.
And so it's been this gradual process of figuring out what I was going to do to get through. Like, I didn't actually expect to develop anything that I was going to share with others. It was more like, what am I going to do to get through this life? Because I see stuff that other people don't seem to see. Okay. Thank you. And I seem to feel things that other people don't feel. And I still want to have relationships with people. So how do I hide? So actually what it started was me learning how to be a really good liar, lying to myself and to other people, and hiding my gifts, hiding my naysayer nature, hiding the fact that I didn't agree with things, and just desperately wanting to be accepted. That was the first iteration.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really how that went. And then later in life, it was like this gradual, well, I do want to be myself, and I do think different things, and I don't want to live this way. So the first iteration was, I'm going to leave the country. I was 22. I gave myself permission to not want to live where I grew up.
Okay.
That was the first thing. Then the second block came with, I get to want to be loved and have a good relationship, even though I had my first kid when I was 19. That doesn't mean that I'm like suddenly not worth as much. Right. That was the second part. Okay. So I got divorced after having, I had 2 kids and I got divorced. Then I got to this place where I was like, and this patriarchy bullshit, I'm not with that either. Like, I'm actually, regardless of what the world says, just because I'm short and dark skinned doesn't mean that I'm not attractive, because that's not my lived experience. Amen. So I don't care what the media says about me.
Right.
And I'm going to expect for people to treat me like I'm amazing and beautiful and all the rest of it, even though I'm not European standard beautiful. So there was that.
Amen. High fives.
Thank you. But that took a lot.
Right.
Because my mother very much so is. I don't look anything like my mom. I look like my dad. And it's just been this ever increasing. And then when did I decide that I needed to share things with other people? Yeah. Probably 2 years ago. A year ago, acutely, because Spirit.
Recent?
Oh, yeah, this is very recent.
Wow.
Spirit took everything. Spirit was like, you have to open your mouth.
Right.
You have to. And no, you don't get to keep a job and do this part-time. Wow. This is your full-time job now.
Right.
This is your full-time job. And you're on a mountain in Costa Rica, and your job that you got that was remote and salaried is going to go away now, because you are going to do spiritual work exclusively. And that's what happened.
That's amazing. So how
crazy, right?
So how does it feel? So because obviously there has to be some gratification in there somewhere as well, but how does it literal? Because I think that's the biggest thing that I want or hope that people after watching this will understand, because sometimes we have to relate things to a feeling, to a sense, mm-hmm. right? So what does it feel like when you finally tap into that, that right spirituality? What does it feel like?
So when you click into alignment, because nobody can tell you when you're in alignment with purpose, you can feel it. And so at first it's like, oh my gosh, this is really amazing. And there's this rush of excitement, just like when you first fall in love, or when you get your new car or whatever, and you're taking extra care of it, and you're, it's like, oh, this is this thing.
Right.
And then because you're still you,
yeah,
and you have limiting beliefs, and you've never actually done any of this before, there's this, is this real? Am I going to mess it up? Is this permanent?
So it's like a fear?
Fear, absolutely. Fear comes and robs you of what you've gained.
Right.
I did that live yesterday, partially because of that. the fear of losing, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of stepping in something new, it dogs you until you look at it, right? So that's still there. That's still something that shows up, and people that aren't honest about it, I wouldn't trust them.
Amen.
Because that's present, right? It's a part of the human experience. Right. But what it also does is it makes it so that I literally cannot do my job unless I am able to, as I am right now, say these things with conviction, right, and with peace and with joy. When right, I am not in that space, I can't work.
That's awesome.
If I was still working, doing any of the other jobs I had, I could be super depressed and still do it and no one would know. It's not like that right now. Right. So I'm held to a higher standard. And this is something that I want people to understand when they're looking for a spiritual facilitator, or they're looking for someone to work with, or they're listening to someone who is giving them, guidance in any real way. If they're for real, there's an obligation to ever increasingly commit themselves to improvement and evolution. Because if you ever stop, you will descend into ego, and you will put yourself in a position of speaking to other people about condition that you also share, that you're not being honest about. When right, you hear me do lives, I talk about me.
Right.
I talk about us.
Right.
Because I'm in this too.
Right. Right. And I think because we witness that, I think, on a daily basis with a lot of people where they get into even a place of putting themselves over people when they get into their, they feel like they found their place, and so they become this dominator of people, and they forget that they're involved too, and so I shudder when I watch that kind of thing happen, and that's why I can't even watch some people. Like, I've tapped into the few people that I can that I control now, because I mean it not in trolling, but I mean it as in I want to learn. And so I tapped into some people like you and Latrice and some other folks, and that I actually know that I'm between all of you. I'm actually building an understanding of what I need to continually work on.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is the only way that I believe that I can then share anything that I believe I'm purposed in. And so it's so, and I think that, and so even without you saying that, but I'm glad you said it, because then it doubles me down of feeling confident that I'm at least attempting to do this the right way. And
with humility first.
That's awesome.
But there's definitely a loneliness in knowing that you are working within purpose, like when you are working in alignment, because there's not a lot of people that are blissed with the circumstances and with the being at the right place in their life, because a lot of things have to align for you to be in alignment, right? So a lot of us will be faced with that opportunity, and we don't always know even if that's what it is, because you got to listen to your intuition. If your sense of trust for yourself is not in a place where you can hear that small voice, you might miss it at that time. It doesn't mean that it's gone forever, but still. And so there was definitely a sense of loneliness when I was like, who do I even tell this to? Like, who am I going to say? I'm not going to look for a job anymore. I'm just going to do spiritual work for people. Huh? Like, that isn't even, but Spirit made it happen, and Spirit made it something that was very real, and I was immediately rewarded, and have been, and it's grown and evolved. But the thing is, it's still evolving. I don't even know what it's going to be. Next month, it could be something different.
And I think, and that's what I think happens to a lot of people, is that we could end up talking ourselves out of it, because we're not staying tapped into the fact that we're having to better ourselves and having to keep ourselves open to more understanding, more learning, more. There's more feelings. There's more than just us. And I like that feeling. Like I love the feeling of knowing that there's way more than me.
Yes,
way
so
more,
much more.
There's way more purpose out there that I can tap into, not just the thing that I feel is or believe is happening at this very moment, but there's so much more to it. And I think, and interesting thing for me, and this should be your time of talking, but this is the first time I got you, so I have to tell you this.
You're
For me,
sharing. It's okay.
for me, because I've dealt with this chronic Lyme disease thing, I think that has been a very helpful thing in my situation, because since I've been going through this battle, I've been by myself. I've not been in a relationship since 2013. I've strengthened my family relationships. I've tapped into more healthy relationships with other folks and gotten rid of relationships that were probably detrimental to my growth, and so
That's
on.
good.
So I personally wholeheartedly believe in the lonely part of it. Not that I want to be lonely, but that it took that. And I think if I hadn't have been sick, I probably would still be doing what I was doing before, which was always around people, always on somebody's stage, never really having any alone time. I mean, of course, I have a daughter too, who I was just always, loving on and always around. Now she's old, she's married, and so on. And so, so it's like, so I think all of those things were taken out of my way on purpose.
Yes, that happens.
Yes. And so this is this, and so now I get to be sad one day when I'm watching people being murdered and all these things that are happening here, and I'm sad, and all of a sudden I'm doing this. Very bizarre, like something I never would have been doing. I used to hate social media, like literally. I wouldn't go on except if I had to post something or had to see something. That was it. And now here I am. Right? So yeah. So I'm telling you that I am here for the long haul until I breathe my last breath, to keep on learning and keep on finding what this self is supposed to be doing. And that's I think it's essential. I wish you could see my face right now, because like but I appreciate you. So let me ask you, okay, so now you're in Costa Rica now. I know that you also were in other places first. You were in Brazil,
in
right?
Bahia, yes. I lived in Bahia for 5 years.
Now, what is it once you tapped in? Because I know what you said earlier, that it takes some of the distractions away. It takes some of the harmful things that I talk about nowadays, but it takes all that out of your way. Now you're able to do your what your purpose is better, because those things are gone. But what brought you to that actual place, like Costa Rica? Like what?
So Bahia, okay. What brought me there? There was a couple of things. So I research for fun. Like, I love information. I research. And when it became very clear that I didn't want to live in the States anymore, the person that I used to be with, my ex-husband, he was like, he was from New York, and he had traveled a little bit. He was a little older than me. I hadn't gone anywhere, but I knew I didn't want to live in the States, and I wasn't afraid. Right. So I researched the BRIC countries: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. This was back in 2002. I started doing research on this. I had zero money, none. So I created a 3-year plan. My dad, I left the house when I was 16, and I had paid for most of my own college. And my dad, after I got married, because I was married, patriarchy, right, was like, I can put some money aside to help you finish school, because I had like 1 year left on my bachelor's degree at that point, like way back then. And my dad was like, I'll give you $6,000 to finish, because it was state school. And I was like, you know what? I would rather use that as a down payment. And he was like, where are you going to buy a property? I was in a 1-bedroom apartment. in LA, off of Adams and Crenshaw. I didn't want to be there. So I was like, okay, Texas. So I did research about the whole country, where was the most stable. I'm telling you this because this is what led me to learn what I needed for the rest of the stuff that I do. So I'm from California. I'm from Los Angeles. And I'm like, where in the country can I buy a house with a $6,000 down, and like I can live, me, my husband at the time, and my 2 boys, where can we live for like $1,200? So I did research on the minimum wage,
Right.
the cities that had certain minimum wages with no income tax. Like I triangulate my research, right? So
Yep.
I decided Texas, and I decided a college town in Texas. Why? Resale values are good. The values of the properties tend to hold and steadily increase. And it wasn't volatile like the California market.
Okay.
That was my first little foray into really exercising my research ability.
Right.
So I do that. We launched this plan. We were in Texas, bought a house, redid it, made $50,000, $60,000 profit on it because we did everything ourselves.
Right.
Used that money to go to Brazil. I had researched Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Well, I'm acutely aware of who I am in the world. I didn't want to be chocolatey brown in Russia. Definitely not in India.
Right.
And I'm not going to China.
Right.
So I was like, okay, Brazil it is, right? Where in Brazil? Because Brazil is a huge country. Yeah. So I did all of that research. I also researched Uruguay. I researched other countries that had really easy investment visa options because at 22, I wasn't retiree age.
Right.
So I needed to figure out other ways. The thing that you want to start with is evaluating who you are in the world and then figuring out what's going to work the best for you for what that is. So Brazil is a predominantly person of color, black, because they're not the same, but there's a lot of black people there and there's a lot of people of color there. So I didn't want to feel isolated. And I wanted to be somewhere where I could blend in. That's not the case now. Right. But at the time, that was really important to me. So we did all this research and went to Uruguay because Uruguay had really, really good relocation options. And it was pretty easy to go about that if we had decided to stay.
Right.
But we decided not to. And at the end of the day, I do my research. So I use my intuition to choose the countries. Then I use then I research it, and then I use my intuition to guide me where I'm supposed to go. And so Spirit was like Brazil, and at the time I didn't even know it was Spirit, but I just had these feelings and I went with it. So it was like Brazil. We went from Uruguay all the way up to Bahia, which is in the north. We drove.
Wow.
Because I didn't know what state in Brazil. We just knew Brazil, right? So we were like, okay, we're 20. I was 22. He was 25, 26. And we had two little kids. Spirit was like, okay, Bahia. We got to Bahia and it was like, okay, this is it. It was so much. Wow. So much happened. So much happened. I grew up so much. I learned so much about myself. And I had the crutch of feeling at home in a place or looking around and seeing me, and that gave me a sense of inclusion.
Right.
This go around, after spending 5 years abroad, I knew what I was doing. It took me 3 years to get out the last time. This time it took 8 months. It was a whole different, because when you live abroad, you understand kind of the nuance of things. And I knew that I really wanted a home and I wanted more stability. I moved with more children. I have a blended family. It was different. It was different. So I knew that what we needed as a unit was more stability than what I could get away with before. And it was me and my ex and two little kids, right? Either way, Spirit let me know, not Panama, not Nicaragua, because originally it was Panama. And I never quite felt comfortable with Panama. My husband was like, Panama, Panama, Panama. And I was like, he likes to sing that song, Panama. Right. I was like, nah, bro, no. He's like, why? I said, no. It's Costa Rica. Right. He said, but why? I said, I can't really give you, that's the thing.
Right.
I know that my emotions don't have to be logical to be valid.
Right.
They don't.
Well, but
now I'm not.
So you're so tapped in to yourself and your purpose that you can be okay with what your intuition tells you. You can. But
I didn't know that at the time.
Okay.
This was before. Like I just, that we all have different, like we all have different things, right? We all have different areas of our life that we're more mature in, or that
Right.
we've developed more. And
Right.
I'm a sensitive person. I'm a water sign. I'm a Scorpio, and I feel my feelings all the time. I'm always how do I feel? And it,
Right.
so, but to get to a place where I could trust it, that went back and forth, because mind you, when I left Brazil divorced. I left Brazil having lost the business that I set up. I had to start from scratch. People who didn't really believe in me when I left love to rub your face in it when you feel
Right.
like you failed.
Right.
I went through 8 years of not feeling confident about my choice.
Wow.
So I was stripped of that for a long time. And I had to take a chance on me.
Right.
And I said, you know what, ma'am? You don't have the right to not revere and have honor for what it is you accomplished. And these people who are naysaying you right now have less experience than you do. So guess what?
Truth.
Really? Did I make a mistake? Yeah, but I did it. That's more than what a lot of people did. A lot of people sit around and talk about what they wish that they could have done and didn't implement anything.
Right.
So if I got through 5 years, that's 5 more years than most people have gotten through.
Right.
So I said, I need to tap back in and check with myself.
That's
what
awesome.
I had to do. And it was Costa Rica. Why? Because it's stable, because it's safe, because it's on a frequency that I really needed to be in. There's a certain alignment that works very well for my chart, that works very well for my ancestors, that I feel drawn to here. And I think that my higher self knew that it was time for me to step into my purpose, and that this was the place that I had to be in order to do it.
And so now, how long have you been there now?
Almost 2 years.
That's crazy. That's awesome, though. It's crazy. It's like, just to think about those kind of maneuvers. It's like, wow. Like you're literally trusting something way beyond what's in front of your eyeballs. And
yes, the unseen. But this is the thing. And if nobody else pulls anything from this, then what I'm about to say, please hold on to it. It is the unseen that controls the seen. It is what you set into motion in the ethers, in the spirit realm, that manifests in the physical. So ignoring that, you're doing yourself a major disservice. And mind you, when we came, we bought a business, we bought a house, we had certain, we made major investments with the intention, because this time I came with more money than when I left to go to Brazil.
Right.
The intent was to have more stability, but the business, we don't have that business anymore.
Right.
That's already we've gone through 3 cycles already in 2 years.
Wow.
Because that's just, but the thing is, how much do you trust what it is that spirit is showing you that you're supposed to be doing right now? If you trust it, then you trust it. If you don't, then you doubt and you mess up what's being delivered to you. You're moving the address before the piece of mail can get there.
Right. Right. Wow. Now, let me ask, okay, so you do now, I mean, I know you do online, you talk with people, but you do seminars or you do retreats?
So that's been the newest iteration.
Okay.
April 2021, I am launching my retreat series that actually was mentioned to me by my patrons on Patreon several months ago, and I was completely adverse to the idea. Because from my perspective, I was very, very focused on spiritual development and unification and relocation. Those are the things that I'm very passionate about. They're not separate. They're definitely connected. Right. And I thought that a retreat would kind of detract from that. And what I realized was that it was simply that I was not ready for the scope of my work to where it's leading me to now. And so when it became very clear that that's exactly what was needed, right. I need to set up retreats. I need to create safe spaces for people to come and heal and explore things that they hadn't, and have conversations that they can't in a safe space. People don't like to be honest about that, but sometimes you just can't have the conversation when the kids are in the house, or right. when your mom's within earsight shot, or when you're in the, so retreat spaces create a world away for
Right.
you to really do some deeper healing, that you really, you get to be invited into a frequency and into a space that's been curated for no other purpose than your wellness. That's
Right.
not something that you get to have access to all the time.
Right.
And so I realized that that's what I was supposed to be doing next. And so that's what I'm doing. I have a Patreon. I do one-on-one sessions, spiritual guidance, life coaching, or relocation. Depends on what you need.
So you
And
have,
sometimes it's all.
listen, before we're done, you have to tell all of those things, and you have to make sure that I have links where I can tell people and put people in your, wherever they need to be, so they can tap into what you're doing, because
Sure.
I can't do that, but I can, be a go-between, to get them to you so that they can get to that. I think that so many people that I deal with, like literally, who are trying to figure stuff out, who are trying to figure themselves out, deal with that. And I can take you but yay far. And after that, I'm still trying to get somebody to get me to do it.
I do a lot of life coaching, spiritual life coaching, and I have seen just drastic changes in people's lives. And I feel so honored that some people have selected and chosen to work with me to help guide them through where it is that they are right now. Because what you need is going to change. Your
Right.
needs should not be static. Your needs should actually evolve,
Right.
because you should be going through evolution,
Right.
right? So wherever it is that you are, if you feel that you resonate with any spiritual worker or guide, allow them to come in and do the work with you. And then when it's time to part company, feel free. This model that we've gotten used to of like being with a therapist for 15 years, I'm like, isn't that proof of failure?
Exactly. Right.
That's proof of failure.
No
You're still
breakthrough.
talking about the same
Yeah, no
things.
breakthrough, no understanding, no, every time you're feeling a little tense, you have to go right back. You can't figure out anything. There's no leading you to the next growth. There's nothing. So
I am an evolutionary guide, and I assist in my intent. And when you come to me, we are getting to work. We are evaluating what's going on. We are figuring out what it's connected to, because I'm going to tap into that. Spirit's going to show me, tarot's going to show me, my Scorpio intuition is going to show me. We're going to look at it, we're going to dismantle it, we're going to figure out what needs to get done. I like action.
right.
That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to just dump your hurt feelings that you're not actually willing to address.
Right.
That's not me. We're getting work done, and it's
Right.
commitment on both sides. And I will uphold my part, and I expect people that work with me to do the same.
That's the awesomeness. Let me say real quick. So everybody, you are watching and listening to Food for Action. I have the Global Black Girl. She is amazing. She is. She can impart some things on your life. It's incredible. We have our partner, Gorin Brothers, who are helping me to continue doing this. And I'm going to make sure that I have all the information that if you guys want to get to her, you can. I'll be able to have as much information as possible to get you pointed in the right direction. I think that it's essential for any of my Food for Action folks to. I always say this all the time. Oh, you went away. Hold on. Okay, got you. I tell my people all the time that they have to be able to go beyond me. I kind of consider myself the middleman for just about everything that comes to not being me. There's so much that I'm trying to learn myself, and so the more people that I can tap into, and then tap other people into them, and so on, then I think that's kind of a lot of my mission in this walk. So I appreciate you so much. Tell me if this is very specific, and it's only because I myself went through this recently.
Okay.
What would you tell somebody that has had a problem with a relationship? And I mean, like, I'm talking about girlfriend, boyfriend, or the lack of, or maybe they had the last one that they had was so horrible that they can't even see a new one, or can't even, you know what I mean? They don't even see the possibilities anymore.
Do you want a real answer?
Yes, I do. I want the, you know, uppercut. Left.
I'll give you a real answer, like really. And I'm bringing this up because it was actually a point of contention in my family with my father, because after my first son and then my divorce, my father was like, you should just not date until the boys are grown. Like, it hasn't worked. You tried it. Mind you, I had my first son at 19, my second one at 22. I was divorced at 28. And my dad is like hanging up for, you know.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Here's why. My previous relationships taught me things about myself, taught me things about what it is that I wanted, that I didn't know that I wanted, or that I didn't know that I didn't want.
Right.
And I'm evolving and I'm learning more and more. Why on earth, if I don't want anyone to tell me that because I used to eat McDonald's means that I don't get to want to eat, you know, I can't be a vegan now. I don't accept concepts that pigeonhole me to who I once was, to what my former standards were, or anything like that. And when you operate in a space of fear and avoidance, you are in agreement that you don't get to grow past where you were. You are projecting upon yourself and any future partner that they have to be what you've been through already. And that doesn't even make any sense. When you really break it down, it doesn't make any sense. That idea that your dynamic that you had with this whole other human being is going to be exactly the same with some other totally different human being.
Right, right.
And the other part is that you are, instead of taking responsibility for who you are in that dynamic, which is the only constant, the constant is you.
You, right.
You are not allowing yourself the room to grow past and become better either.
Right.
So if you choose to operate from that place of fear and tell yourself that you're no longer worthy of having any better, that's a decision. But there's no reason for it, because every single day that you have an opportunity to do better, you can. Now you can choose not to.
Right.
But it doesn't, you deciding and being in agreement with that is a reflection on your low self-esteem and not feeling worthy of having different or having better.
Right.
And so while I'm not saying, you know, go be reckless, and that's not what this is about. But as you mentioned, the feeling like it's impossible, the
Right.
feeling like it can't ever be better, or you'll never this, all of that type of language, never, always, everyone, all of those kinds of statements.
Right.
You are giving power to, and you are stripping yourself of your own divine creatorship. That's what you're doing. You can always renegotiate.
Right. I like that.
So renegotiate.
Right. Right. Wow. This is powerful. This is like, we need to do this like once a week.
I try.
Let me see. So I don't know who's out there. If you have any questions, let me know. We can't keep her too much longer. But I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes to, if you type something up, we got you. If not, then you're going to have to follow her on social media. I know that you can look her up at the Global Black Girl on Instagram.
And YouTube, the Global Black Girl.
And YouTube, the same thing.
And my website, the same thing.
And her website, the same thing. So she keeps it constant because it makes it easier.
Exactly.
Makes it easier to find. And I do the same thing, by the way, with my little OBI thing, you know, that I do. But yeah. So I encourage everybody who is either looking now, listening now, participating now, or later, to please tap in to what she's offering, because it's not because all the things that we tend to we put ourselves in these bubbles, in these boxes, and and we're killing ourselves. We're literally killing ourselves. We're not, we walk around talking about how proud we are of who we are, but we're really not being the full self that we can become, because we're not tapping into these things. And she can show you how to do it, how to tap in, and it's important. Can I tell you one more thing before you go? Because I know you want to say something.
Yes.
Real quick. I have to commend you for being able to talk to a black screen, because you can't even see me, and it looks like
nothing.
It looks like you can.
That's good. I'm glad it looks like I can see you, because I can't. It's completely black. Like, it's
you, when we get off this thing, I'm sending you a picture of what I look like. Wow.
Please send me the link. Send me the link so I can watch the interview that I'm having with this black screen. Because yeah, I see nothing. But thank you for that. I was going to say really briefly, for people who either are not able or are not in a position or don't feel comfortable with inviting me or another spiritual worker or guide into their lives, the best ways to start your process of tapping into yourself is to truly know yourself, which means you need to know your numbers. You need to know your numbers, your numerology. You need to know your chart, get a full chart reading, do your numerology. There's so much information just in that.
And you do
It'll help you understand. I do assist with that. But there's a lot of resources you can use online, and it can feel a little overwhelming, and I do have my own way of explaining things. Right. However, this information is going to give you a better idea as to why it is that your patterns have been what they've been. Right. And instead of looking at your astrology or your natal chart or sidereal chart, whichever one you're more interested in, instead of looking at it as this is my blueprint, so this is what I have to be, I encourage people to look at your blueprint and decide where you want to knock a wall down or add a bathroom. You get to redesign everything. You get to rework your contracts. You get to rework everything that's not working for you. But you can't do that if you don't know how your building is set up. So you need to know your numbers, and you need to know your natal chart, because that's your blueprint.
And I know you got to go. So I guess my last question, it's very scary. I know this from people I talk to people to know who they want to, they want to get a reading. They want to get how do they know that they can trust somebody? There's so many scammers. There's so many people that are really not doing this for real. They're doing it for the book. How do they know where to go to tap into somebody before they get to you when they're trying?
So there's a couple of things, and there's two parts to this. Number one, you have to be willing to forgive yourself if you make a mistake. Sometimes we're led to the wrong people so we can know what that energy signature feels like when it's not right. Gotcha. Right. So maybe there's somebody that you're emotionally drawn to, and you get a reading with them and they tell you a bunch of BS that doesn't really make any sense, and you feel away.
Right.
You have two choices. You can internalize it and go, well, that was stupid anyway, and I shouldn't have done that, and I just threw money in the garbage. Or you can go, wow, I learned now. I know what to look for. I know how that feels.
Right.
And so now when I reach out to the next person, I'm going to see what resonates with me. Right. And not just go with what they're telling me. I'm going to go with what I'm feeling. It can be trial and error. It can. But usually if you tap into your own intuition and you trust your gut, you most of the time will find the right person. Sometimes you'll find the right person that's going to lead you to the right person. Sometimes it's not them. Sometimes it's the person after them. Right. But you got to, at some point, be willing to free fall it. You do your research, you pray, you ask, and then you got to be willing to jump off the cliff. And we got to be okay with that.
I think that's one of the, even where I come from, from the Christian world, is that is one of the things that we're taught, and we
have to do
is listen. Failure. I have to be able to understand that any failure, any fall, I can either learn from that fall so that I know what not to do the next time, and maybe I can even help somebody else with it. But instead of just thinking that my failure, I can't go over there anymore. I can't even. And
the shame. We're not doing shame.
Right.
Awesome. We're on a path. We're not doing shame.
Listen,
Thank you so much for
I
having
love you.
me.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I'm going to continue to follow you everywhere, and I'm going to encourage my folks to do the same.
Thank you.
And I want to know. Please let us know about the dates for your
The retreat, it is April 11th to the 17th. It's the first week. I've added a second week. It's April 18th to the 24th. Currently, it's myself, T, aka the nappy-headed jojoba, and Kimberly Latrice Jones actually is going to be one of our presenters.
man.
And then I have another one who is an EA priestess. She'll be joining as a presenter. I'm not sure if it's going to be week 2 or if we're going to add a separate week for her. But this is a wellness retreat for mind, body, spirit, all included except for your flight. We're picking you up from the airport. We're going to do a yacht trip. Everything's going to be taken care of. We're doing presentations. We're doing yoga. We're doing all of the things. So please follow me on Instagram at the Global Black Girl or the Global Black Girl Retreats, and you'll see all the information in the Eventbrite link so you can get your ticket. It's a $400 deposit. And if you need to make payments, just DM me and I'll work something out because I want you there.
Amen. Thank you so much. Listen, you're awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a really good rest of your night.
I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get to that retreat too. Thank you so much. God bless
Bye.
you. See you later. So yes, folks. So that was the Global Black Girl, and she's just amazing, 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 amazing. And you have to you got to tap in. And I hope that those words did you guys some good. Follow her if you didn't get enough. If you still have more that you want to find out, follow her. Look at some of her lives. Look at some of her interviews that she does with other folks. It's really helpful stuff. You know, everybody chooses a path. Everybody chooses a road, and then the road may lead to another road and another path and so on. But I'm doing my best to see if I can help provide some different roads and some different paths through different guests. So she's amazing, awesome, blessing. We're going to start talking. When I come back on Wednesday, we're going to go over what I was talking about before, some of the Constitution and some of the Bill of Rights, and try to break some of that down so that folks can understand about what this systemic racism thing that a lot of people ignore and deny. I thank you, everybody, for joining in, and those of you who are watching this later. I thank you. So much. Thank you for your continued support. Want to thank Gorin Brothers for being a partner. And I'm going to have some hats to show you soon. So that's going to be pretty neat. They're awesome. Please look them up at Gorin Brothers. They're on Instagram. If you type in at Gorin on any social media, you will be led to one of their links. And so, or Gorin, bros.com, I believe it is. But if you, like I said, if you Google it, you'll find it. If you go on any social media, you'll find it. Farhat, thank you guys. Thank you, Shannon, Fouch, and anybody who I didn't see. I'm sorry that we didn't get to do too much interacting this time, but I think it was important to kind of let her speak things into your lives and not really interrupt that vibe too much. So again, I thank everybody who did take the time to stop by. I thank anybody who is going to stop by in the future. Share this. It'll be on my Facebook page. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be on the _SBTSBC page. It's going to be. I'll put the links on Instagram, so you'll be able to watch this, follow it. It's also going to be on YouTube. I have a YouTube page under excuse me, under OBI_SBTSBC as well. And I don't talk about it a lot because usually I just kind of catalog things there, but you can go there and find any video, any previous episode of Food for Action, which tonight would be the 39th. So, which is freaking blows my brain because I'm like realizing 39 shows. Listen, please join on Wednesday. We're going to have King James Worthy. He's one of the biggest producers in the industry, R&B, hip hop producer. He works with everybody. I mean, I'm talking about everybody. If you could name somebody, he's written, produced, or both. He's got his own project coming out. He's got videos out all over the place right now. So look him up at King James Worthy. He's been on TV, BET, different what do you call it? Different those reality shows and all kind of stuff. So he's going to be on this Wednesday. Then on Sunday, we're going to have DJ Fritzo from Brooklyn. He's one of my dogs, one of my brothers from way back when me and my brothers were doing like R&B music and had our group Redbone and all this stuff. But anyways, he's going to be on next Sunday. And then on the 28th, we're going to have Kalu, which is from Et Kalu Music. And he is one of the winners at UK The Voice. So he's going to be on. So those are the next three people that's going to round off the month of October. So again, I'm trying to help people understand things. Let's bridge the gap from hate and racism and all that. But at the same time, I'm trying to provide some positive things for folks and some entertainment as well, so that I know that it can be maybe too serious sometimes just talking about the issues, but please know that the main focus here is that we want to try to stamp out racism, and we want to do our part to fight that and to create a United States in America and all over the world. Again, thank you everybody for stopping by, for joining the conversation. Please tune in Wednesday again at King James Worthy, big producer, R&B songwriter, producer, and artist, will be here in the house on Wednesday. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. We'll see you Wednesday, same black time, same black channel. Good night.